What is going on, everyone? So this week's video is all about my secret weapon when it comes to producing the video journals. That is my Rode Stereo Videomic X, because audio is more important than video. You can have great looking video, but if your audio is not good, it's pretty much unwatchable. And it's a little unconventional, I think, to use a stereo microphone for doing the video journals or the vlogs, but I found some really cool stuff by using a stereo microphone for the past, I think like 3 years now is how long I've been using this mic. So this video is all about the Rode Stereo Videomic X and what I've learned by using it for the past several years. Hope you guys enjoy. So I went ahead and set up camp at my new location, and now I'm hiking out to the dunes. And it is incredibly windy today. Really, really, really windy. Before we get rolling, as a matter of disclosure, this mic was not provided to me by Rode for the purpose of this video. It's something that I've owned for several years now and something I definitely do enjoy using. The mic took a pretty hard hit on my trip to Death Valley, and I did have some issues with it as a result of that really hard hit, though I was still able to use it for the rest of the trip. When I got back, I sent it into Rode, and they actually swapped it out for me, so I have a brand new mic, which is pretty awesome. It goes to show how good their warranty is for their products, so definitely a fan of stuff from Rode. But that being said, let's get to the review. So let's talk a little bit about the design of the mic itself. So if I pull off the basic shield here, and this is for if you're kind of using it indoors, these mics are very sensitive to just a little bit of wind hitting them, so this will do really well if you're indoors. If you're outdoors, it does include a full dead cat, which is what I use all the time. But if we look at the mic itself, you'll see the dual microphone design here. So you have your stereo, one mic pointing one way, one mic pointing the other way. Each mic is going to have its own little shock mount there. The build quality of the unit is extremely high. So it is a metal barrel or metal shell, I guess you would say. Very, very solid, really good feel to the buttons themselves. It's got a little bit of weight to it, but it balances really well on the camera because it doesn't stick out really, really far. I have found that the shock mounts here are not the most ideal. It's probably better than nothing, but I did find a way around that, which I'll talk about in just a little bit. So you got push button controls on the back, and it runs off a 9-volt battery. I find that battery life is in reality, I can go about 2 days in the field per 9-volt battery, and then beyond that, I gotta make sure I have extra batteries with me just to make sure. You can turn it on right here. This little green indicator light here will go red if your battery is low. If you ever see that turn red, you need to immediately change out that battery. The micro will still keep working for a little while, but you find is that you might get some weird stuff that happens to the audio. So you gotta make sure that you really don't use it if you have that turn red. You have 3 buttons on here, one of which is kind of an audio levels adjustment. And you see as I hit that button, it toggles through the options. I always use it on the positive 20 setting. I find that that works really well with my Sony a7S II because the mic is going to handle more of the share of the amplification. The camera doesn't have to do as much. And on my camera, if I set the audio levels to 4, which is pretty low, and this to positive 20, I have a really good audio for me just kind of talking to the camera in kind of normal usage. You also have options on there for a high pass and also high frequency boost. I find that leaving those at 0 is just fine for what I'm doing. And also, I found that this might, compared to some of the more, I guess you say, kind of consumer offerings, this provides kind of a relatively flat audio, which is fine. I find I have to sort of change it a little bit in post, kind of like if you film video, it's a little bit flat intentionally so that you can kind of work with it after. I find that I have to kind of boost the bass a little bit once I have it on the computer, but not a lot. It doesn't take a heck of a lot. You have a metal shoe down below here. It tightens down. There's a 3/8 thread underneath, but I put a 1/4-20, a little bushing adapter in there for something I'll show you in just a little bit. And one of the reasons why I really enjoy using a stereo mic for what I do is it all has to do with wind, really, for the most part. Because once you put the dead cat on there, I think just the shape of a stereo mic makes it do a lot better in the wind, because that dead cat there kind of dominates the whole exterior of the mic. And I noticed on past mics that sometimes a lot of the sound of the wind itself comes from the wind striking the housing itself. So there's something about a stereo mic that works well for that. I know a lot of people use the directional mics when they're doing the vlogs or the video journals. And it works quite well in those situations because, you know, if you're talking to a directional mic, you're gonna be louder than all the stuff around you. That would be really nice if you're working next to a river or the ocean or anything where you have a lot of loud ambient noise. But oftentimes the places I go, it's pretty quiet. I'm the loudest thing there. So for stereo, that actually works out really well. But I love the fact that I can use it double purpose for capturing the really nice ambient sound, whether it's a sound of, you know, thunder overhead or a flowing stream or birds in a tree. And I really like kind of working that audio into the video journals. Because audio really is the most important part of video. And I think having a stereo microphone kind of allows me to make the videos hopefully a little bit more immersive, which is pretty nice. But I really love the wind resistant design. I just leave this dead cat on there all the time. It just goes in my bag just like that. Another couple things. You gotta be really careful with moisture. So if it's raining, if it's snowing, I had a situation, I think back in like 2016, where I got snowed on a little bit. I was really careful, but still some snow got on the mic. It melted, kind of got in there, and then it temporarily shut off either the right or the left channel because a little moisture got to that mic. These mics are a lot more sensitive to that than some other mics, so you have to be really, really careful about that. So just something to keep in mind. So let's talk about the suspension system. So I've noticed that I sometimes get some handling noise when I use this mic, because I don't know that this mic is necessarily intended for how I'm using it out in the field, you know, camera on the end of a tripod, me holding the tripod out there, and just me holding on to the tripod itself sometimes generates some handling noise that makes its way all the way to the mic capsules. So after going on my fall trip, I looked into some options to add a suspension system to this mic. And so I found this. This is from Rycote. It doesn't have a super great name to it. It's called the Portable Recorder Suspension 041119. You'll see it linked to down below. It's about 70 bucks. It's not cheap. This is made to attach like a Zoom audio recorder to the top of a camera. It's actually rated so you have to have something that has a decent amount of weight to it, but this mic works really, really well in there. I added that 1/4-20 thread, and also I should mention that I didn't use all the pieces that came with this setup from Rycote. There's actually this little angled tilting bracket thing that I didn't use because it would have kicked it up too high. But on the bottom here, this black piece, this is just kind of a standard hot shoe to 1/4-20 thread, and I just rigged it up with the other parts there. So pretty easy to do. But when I have it like that, now you have a nice shock mount. So I used this on my recent trip, and I didn't have any handling noise, which was really, really nice. So let's talk about my wish list for any sort of future versions of this mic. When it comes to the battery, the 9-volt works okay, but I kind of wish it was a rechargeable lithium battery in that it could charge in mic via a USB. It allowed me to kind of top off of the battery, which would be good. I would still like it to be a replaceable battery, not just a built-in battery, so that way I can have another one with me. And also, it'd be nice if I could use a non-rechargeable type battery in there as well. But I would love to be able to charge this in mic via a USB. I also wish that there was a better battery indicator, because when this goes red, basically your audio is probably not going to be all that great. I wish there was a little bit more warning before that happened. So that'd also be nice. I think that is something that would be made more possible if you did have a lithium battery as opposed to just a standard 9-volt battery. Another thing too, the dead cats. So after probably about, say a year or so of use, they kind of get matted down. They're just not quite as good anymore. So I like to be able to replace the dead cat, but Rode does not sell this dead cat separately, which makes it kind of tricky. So now that I have a new mic, because this one was replaced, I have a new dead cat for it, which is great, but I would love to be able to purchase a new replacement dead cat for this like every year or so, just to keep things nice and good and wind resistant and everything. But overall, I am really, really happy with this mic. It is definitely my secret weapon, but I want to thank everyone for watching, and we'll see you next week.